Hi, I'm Casey Fredette, and you're watching Getting to Know Seaside Animal Rescue on HCAM-TV. I've worked professionally with animals since I was, I believe, 19 years old. I've done mostly animal rescue, as well as working in clinical settings with animals. I've always been a big advocate for animals. They're very close to who I am. I've been shelter manager for 2 years and a month. And day to day, I run the administrative duties of the office, and I'm responsible for the overall health and care of the animals that we have in the shelter, as well as in our foster program. I try and keep everyone happy and healthy. I try and keep the shelter running efficiently. Seaside Animal Rescue is a grassroots organization. It's a small animal shelter in a multi-purpose building. We have 2 apartments above us and an ice cream store in front of us. In 2004, we opened our shelter, which is where we are now on L Street in the alphabet streets of Hull. So we're celebrating our 10th year of having an actual shelter this year. And now we're able to house many more animals. We have many more volunteers and a much better fundraising group. We are a no-kill animal shelter. We house cats and kittens because of the multi-purpose nature of the building. We are primarily a cage-free facility, which is unique. We allow the animals to come out and interact with one another so that they can get exercise, they can get interaction, they can be social, which cats are a social animal. We're a very small, very active organization that has grown as much as we possibly can and continue to.
Well, in 1999, when I first started, there was a huge need in Hull for some organization to help the huge population of homeless cats.
There was a feral population in Hull that existed unlike anywhere else locally.
So there was an ad in the paper stating that there was going to be a meeting to start raising money for a shelter. So I went to that first meeting, and that's when HSAR was formed.
Initially, it was a group of just citizens that worked as a foster network. They took the cats in, they raised funds to care for them, to get them veterinary care.
And the people were very dedicated. So for 5 years, we met every single month. And we started raising money, started making ourselves known. And little by little, we were able to raise enough to open the space at 50 L Street. Well, it's changed considerably in that we have so many wonderful volunteers now. In the beginning, we only had a handful. And now we have a volunteer base of 65 volunteers. And they're wonderful. The shelter couldn't run without them.
We rely almost solely on volunteers. The day-to-day care and cleaning of the shelter is completely reliant on people who volunteer their time.
The majority of the volunteers do a shift, which is 2 hours long.
We have a morning shift and a night shift, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, including the holidays. They come in and they take care of the day-to-day cleanliness of the shelter. They change the litter box, they feed the cats, they give them fresh water, they play with them. Can be most important is just the playing with them and interacting with them, giving them some exercise, giving them some human interaction, which they definitely need. And then they'll do laundry, mop the floors, pretty much anything that needs to be done, they do willingly.
The volunteers bring a sense of comfort to the cats. The cats come in, a lot of them have never been with other cats. A lot of them come from homes where they were the only cat. And for various reasons, they end up in a shelter. And a lot of them are frightened. They need comfort. They need care, and they need love. and that's what the volunteers give them. It's not just the physical, it's the emotional needs of the cats.
The shelter has all kinds of volunteers. We have from the very young to the very old. We have retired, we have professionals. To be a volunteer at the shelter, you have to be 16 years or older. However, if you come with your parent, you can come and help out. Without volunteers, we wouldn't be able to have the shelter. We were founded by volunteers. No one was paid, no one was getting anything out of it, except for the satisfaction of helping the cats and kittens. Volunteers are the ones in there every day, hands-on, running the adoptions, caring for the animals, noticing if they're off, if a cat's lethargic, if a cat seems unhappy with where it is. They're the ones that are in there spending a lot of time one-on-one with the animals. They know them, they know their personalities, they know their quirks. So without the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to continue as a shelter. Volunteers, I like to think, get a lot from volunteering at Seaside.
I know that it's a very rewarding feeling to know that you've taken care of a helpless group of animals.
We're a smaller organization, so they're able to do a lot more than sometimes you're able to do in larger organizations.
There's nothing like walking into a kitten room and seeing kittens jumping around, playing, to just lift your spirits. You can be in a really bad mood and then you go there and you see all this activity and they're just so adorable. So I think that really, people go just for that. It just relieves your stress. And to see them get adopted, that's the best, to go to their forever homes.
Everyone has a very bittersweet moment when a cat leaves. You've spent a lot of time with them. You've put a lot of yourself into them. And when they leave, it's very bittersweet. You're very relieved for them, you're happy for them, but there's a selfish part of you that is going to miss seeing that cat every day. So I like to think that the volunteers get a lot out of seeing the good that they do. The volunteers get to really see cats through on their journey. To adopt a cat or kitten, you can visit our website, which is hsar.org, and through there you will be linked over to our Pet Finder account. At Pet Finder, we have each of our available cats and kittens listed with a photograph and a brief description of who they are and why they're at the shelter. Once you find a cat that you're interested in, we have open hours every Monday from 6:30 to 7:30 at night, and on Saturdays we have 2 to 3. We do have an adoption coordinator, Judy, who is available for private viewings of the cats and kittens as is needed. Our adoption process is usually pretty quick. We try and be as convenient as possible.
Let's just do one scenario. Someone calls up and says, I'm looking for a kitten to go with my young cat, and I have 2 children, and then I'll say, come on in and visit. And so they come to the shelter. We talk about feeding. We talk about what to do with the cat when it first comes, because cats, when they come to a new situation, are kind of afraid.
Our adoption fees vary depending on the age of the cat.
And we have an adoption form that they fill out. And on the form, we specify that it must be indoor only, no declawing. The cat will not leave without shots and being spayed and neutered.
We ask for personal references and a vet reference.
Then if everything goes through, I call them. They come in and pick up their pet. And when they leave, they get all their medical records. And then I do check in with them after a week just to make sure everything's good. And they can call me at any time with questions.
Each year we adopt anywhere from 150 to 200 cats and kittens, which is an amazing adoption rate. We adopt to towns locally, and we adopt all the way up to the North Shore, down onto Cape Cod. Our biggest town for adoptions is Hingham. We adopt more cats and kittens to Hingham than we do any of the other surrounding towns. We also take in about 5% of our cats come from Hingham, either strays or animals that the owners can no longer keep and have to surrender. Another area that we really need help in is fostering, and that is a lot of times a mother and a litter of kittens that are brought in. The kittens can be anywhere from hours old to a few weeks old, and they don't have the immune system to live in a shelter environment. So we need volunteers that are willing to take them into their house, put them in a private area where they can be by themselves, the mother can nurse. We provide all of the food, the litter, all of the veterinary care. We just need people that are able to take them in and give them the love and affection and the home condition that cats in that situation really need. The foster program is a very important program in any shelter. Not every animal, regardless of species, is suited for shelter life. We are primarily a cage-free facility, which is unique. We allow the animals to come out and interact with one another so that they can get exercise, they can get interaction, they can be social, which cats are a social animal. But some animals, they don't enjoy other cats. They don't enjoy loud noises. They don't enjoy the situation that a shelter brings to day-to-day life for an animal. So sometimes we'll see cats that shut down. They won't leave the condo. They'll like being in the condo. In that situation, we like to send them to a foster home. That way they're able to get out, they can get exercise, they can get the interaction that they need on a day-to-day basis. And almost without fail, we see cats that are aggressive in the shelter or are hiding, unwilling to come out, unwilling to interact with people and the other animals. They'll go to a foster home and they turn into a lap cat. Every night they're in the foster parent's lap watching television, or if they need to be in a separate room when the people go in, they come running the minute the people walk in the door. Other times we have animals that are either sick or injured. If we have a cat that has a compromised immune system, then being in a community room with multiple cats is just asking to spread disease, which is something that we work tirelessly to reduce and to prevent. And diseases love shelters. It's their favorite setting. They thrive. There's a lot of animals, there's a lot of laundry, there's a lot of wet spaces. So disease is able to get into a shelter and spread like wildfire if you don't properly prevent it. If you have a cat that already has a compromised immune system, that cat is going to not be sick. And when we send them to a foster home, they're able to be in a situation that doesn't put their health at risk. They're able to be shown to adopters, they're written up in the newspaper, they're on the website, but they're in a situation where they have the calm that they need, they have the attention that they need, and also mothers of newborn kittens. When we get mothers with newborn kittens, we can get a mother with kittens that there's 2 kittens or there's 7 kittens. And we can also get kittens that don't have a mother, that need around the clock, every 2-hour care, that have to be bottle fed. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of reward when you see a kitten go from the size of a small bottle to a cat and go off to its home. It's a big reward, getting to see that you did something, you kept that kitten alive and you gave it a chance at life that it wouldn't have had otherwise.
I really wanted a little bit more. I actually wanted a pet at my house, and so I decided that I would start fostering. And so my first fostering was, my shelter manager called and said, we have 2 kittens that were born outside, they're about 4 weeks old, would have no mother for them, could you take them? And I went, sure. A week later she said, oh, we just found 2 more from the litter, could you take those? I went, okay. And then another week later she said, we have another one, they just found the last one, could you take that one? So I ended up with, and they were all black. But that's how I got started with the fostering, and so I've been doing that for about 4 years. And sometimes I get mothers with them, and sometimes I don't. If you get stray kittens that are up to 4 and 5 weeks old, they become socialized within like a day or so. The first day they hiss at you and they kind of hide. The second day they're kind of peering out, and by the third day they're running over and sitting in your lap.
Once a month, we're visited by the Animal Rescue League's Spay wagon. They come to the shelter right out front. They pull up. It's a self-sustaining van. They spay and neuter all of our cats and kittens that need it at that time. They do it all right there, same day. They also accept the general public's cats. So if someone were to want their cat spayed or neutered, they can book an appointment. Space is limited. And they bring their cat in a carrier that morning at around 8 o'clock in the morning. They drop it off. They fill out paperwork. The spay wagon takes the cat. They give it the surgery, and they wake it up, make sure it's doing well. And the same afternoon, the owners are able to come and pick the cat up and take it home. TNR is trap, neuter, release. And what is entailed with that is certain people go out and they trap feral cats. They locate feral colonies, which is a colony of cats that are completely feral. They don't want to be indoors. They don't like people. They've gone completely wild. This way, we're able to go in, trap them, bring them in for the spay. They're either spayed or neutered. They're given their vaccines, and they have their ear tipped. And the reason their ear is tipped is we don't want to be trapping these cats endlessly, putting them under anesthesia to just find out that they've already been altered. So it prevents us from having to do this to an animal more than once. Seaside has run a TNR program since its beginning, and we work all over the South Shore at this point at reducing the feral population. When you spay and neuter the cats, over time, the colony will die out because you don't have the cats there reproducing endlessly. We have Daffodil at the shelter, who I brought in. She lived in my neighborhood, actually. She is a 4-year-old tiger female. She's now spayed, and her ear is tipped. She was what I would call cuspy. She was on the cusp of feral. She'll let you handle her. She'll interact with you. She is content to be indoors. She's not the most outgoing cat. She doesn't want to be in your lap. She's a little bit of an introvert, but we decided to bring her into the shelter instead of returning her to the feral colony because she is friendly. She will let you pet her. Life is just on her terms. When a cat is completely feral, it's aggressive, it hisses, it will try and find any escape. We don't think that it's necessarily fair to the cat to keep it in a situation where it's clearly miserable. That's not a happy life. Our biggest priority at the shelter is quality of life. If an animal's quality of life is high, then we're doing our jobs. If an animal's quality of life is low, then we have to consider the circumstances, whether that's a foster home or returning a feral cat to the colony that it came from. At least there it's able to finish out its life healthy. It has its vaccines, it's unable to reproduce, and it can return to the way of life that it's accustomed. The shelter uses Hingham Animal Clinic on 3A in Hingham. We have vets there that we've used for a number of years. We have a weekly standing vet visit on Wednesdays that we can bring any cat or kitten to. Each week, depending on what we need, some cats just need their regular vaccines, some are injured, and some are sick. So we take them to the vet. We get them their antibiotic if they need. They can perform surgery on site, and they can just do wellness visits, run the blood. We do a senior screen for our cats that are older just to make sure that everything, before they're sent off to a new home, we want to make sure that everything's running well inside the cat. Even if they look fine, we want to make sure that we can do our best to give people a cat that, even if it's sick, with something long-term, we can tell them what's going on to the best of our ability. And Hingham Animal Clinic helps us take care of all of our cats and the kittens. Our donors vary, for sure. We have people that do planned giving, so they automatically make a donation to the shelter, either through PayPal or their bank, once a month on a regular basis. We have people that send in checks. Sometimes they'll see a story or we'll have a special case that we need to raise funds for, and donors will send money in for that. In addition, we have people that bring us supplies. We are completely at the mercy of donations. We receive no state or local funding from the town. We rely solely on grant writing, fundraisers, and private donations from the general public. So we have people that come in during our open hours. They'll bring a trunk full of cat litter, or they'll bring a bag of cat litter. They'll bring cat food, toys, laser toys, used laundry, sheets and towels, which we wash and use for the cats for bedding. They'll bring in cat trees, the scratch posts. So we take almost anything, and we get almost anything from the general public. We try and make it go as far as we can, and we do a really good job of it. A lot of people do like to bring it in during the open hours because they're able to come in and see the cats and kittens. Outside of that, we are always in need, especially of volunteers who are able to help with fundraising, able to coordinate fundraising, able to attend fundraising events. We have a lot of day-to-day volunteers, but these are special events that come up evenings, Saturdays, Sundays, and we need people that are able to go and represent whole Seaside, able to explain who we are and fundraise for us at the event, talk about us at the event, represent us at the event. Throughout the year, we have a number of events that we participate in, including Hull's Endless Summer. We have our yearly event, which is the Give Me Shelter, that we host, and it is our biggest fundraiser of the year that we hold. We had it this year at the South Shore Country Club. We regularly have live music or a DJ. It's catered. There's plenty of food, and there's usually a bar. We have that once a year. We also participate in regional animal events. We were down at a huge event in Plymouth recently. We regularly participate in Petco events. We are lucky enough to have our Saturdays at Petco Unleashed in the shipyard. And additionally, we participate in their special events, which includes the snow day and the bubble day, and they're very generous towards our group. Our biggest fundraiser of the year, which isn't an event, is our Kittendales calendar. It features typically shirtless men holding tiny furry kittens at various places around the South Shore. And all of the kittens are kittens that came through our shelter and were placed into homes. And that brings in a huge amount of money every year. We ship it all over the world. Kittendales is spearheaded by photographer Joanne Berman. She's a volunteer, a Hull resident, and she's a former shelter manager of Hull Seaside. This is the 8th year that she's produced this calendar. It is a huge fundraiser for us. It raises tens of thousands of dollars every year, which all goes directly towards the shelter and the care of the animals. We have a weekly feature in the Hingham Journal, the Hull Times, and the Cohasset Mariner. They're called Pick of the Litter or Gimme Shelter. It's a feature that highlights a particular cat. It's typically a different cat each week. And it highlights the cat, it talks about the cat, where it came from, what it's like, and has a nice picture of the cat accompanying it. When you adopt a cat or a kitten or any animal, you're giving it a second chance, whether it came to the shelter as a stray, or it was 2 hours old, or it was born in the shelter.
These cats that are up for adoption are in desperate need. To go to a pet store and buy a pet, it just perpetuates the cycle of pets being bred solely for the purpose of adoption, where there are so many pets that are already born that need homes. I think it's so much more rewarding to go to a shelter and adopt a pet.
A lot of people want to feel that they're doing something good. They just feel gratified to know they're giving a cat that needs a home.
I like to think that shelter animals are much more grateful. They know what you've done for them. They know that you've given them a second chance. They've seen what it's like to either be on their own or be in a shelter, but no shelter's a substitute for a home and a family. Our cats and kittens, I think, show a lot of affection and love to their new homes to reward them for having saved them. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting Hull Seaside Animal Rescue. We're very excited to celebrate our 10th year of having a shelter, and we hope for 10 more years. If you're interested in becoming part of our community, participating in the shelter, you can come down. We're located at 50 L Street in the Alphabet section of Hull. We are proud to be part of the South Shore community, helping all of the South Shore, not just Hull. If you're interested in visiting, we have our open hours Monday 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. and Saturdays 2 to 3 p.m. Come down, pet a kitty, and have some fun.